everybody, welcome back to another edition of Neon Trash. Tonight we're going to be checking out the movie American Splendor, starring Paul Giamatti. Apparently this movie is about artist R. Crumb and his friend Harvey Pekar. I really hope I'm pronouncing that man's last name correctly. Now, in terms of artist R. Crumb, I'm a huge fan of his comic books. I always loved his art style. Definitely has a flavor of its own. And, I've never seen this movie, so I'm looking forward to checking it out. You guys know this routine. Check out that motherfucking trailer.
Look at this. We got Superman and Batman. And what about you, young man?
I'm Harvey Pekar.
It doesn't sound like a superhero to me.
Oh, forget this. Why does everybody have to be so stupid?
Here's me, all grown up and going nowhere.
I'm not doing as great as you think.
I gotta get out of here.
My second wife divorced me. I work a dead-end job as a file clerk.
So if you're the kind of person looking for some fantasy figure to save the day, guess what? You got the wrong movie. In the early 60s, I met this shy, retiring cat from Philadelphia.
Meet my buddy, Bob Crumb. You should see his comics.
I could write comic book stories that are different from anything that's being done.
This is great stuff. Can I illustrate him? These are all about you?
Yeah.
You turn yourself into a comic hero.
Ordinary life is pretty complex stuff.
What happened to the new American Splendor?
I think we sold them.
Why does everything in my life have to be such a complicated disaster?
I think you and I got a lot in common.
I don't really know what to expect. The way Crumb draws you, you all these wavy, stinky lines.
Those are motion lines. I'm an active guy. Hey, are you Joyce?
Hey, Harvey.
Alex, you might as well know right off the bat I had a vasectomy.
I have all these food allergies, self-diagnosed anemic degenerative illness.
Wow, you're a sick woman.
Not yet, but I expect to be. I think we should skip the whole courtship thing and just get married.
From off the streets of Cleveland, please say hello to Harvey Pekar.
You're Harvey Pekar. You're famous.
Son, you done good.
You're the embodiment of the American dream.
I never felt more like a sellout hack in my life.
You do me wrong, but still I'm crazy about you.
I'm still a file clerk. I have always been a file clerk.
Would you get me some water and a few aspirin?
What, you got a headache?
No, but I want to avoid one.
You should try believing in something bigger than yourself. It might cheer you up.
What, do we seem depressed?
In regards to the man Harvey Pekar, I just want to go on and say I completely butchered the man's name at the beginning of this video. But after watching the movie, I think even he would approve of me calling him Harvey Pekar. Why not, right? But wow, what a captivating movie. Paul Giamatti completely sinks himself into this character, and you as the viewer, you kind of get lost between the actual man and the actor playing the man, because his mannerisms are spot on. The way he sounds is almost identical, and I thought he was the perfect choice to play the character in this movie of Harvey Pekar. Before I get into the meat and potatoes of my review for American Splendor, I want to give you guys a little bit of a background of me when it comes down to my own interest in comic books. Growing up in the 1980s, especially the mid-1980s, I can remember the first time my parents took me and my brother to a comic book shop. And here in Kent, Ohio, which also has some awesome connections to this movie, what with it taking place up in Cleveland, Ohio, we had a little shop here in Kent called Spellbinders. That was the first time I ever been to a comic book shop, and I was enamored with it. I loved all the crazy stories, the insane characters, the off-the-wall art style, and comic books definitely swept me up in the early to mid-1980s without a doubt. It was an interest that would transition into the 90s and would never leave me. I mean, I still read comic books and graphic novels to this very day. I love artwork, I love cartoons, I love that whole kind of gritty, down and dirty, DIY comic book style that was prevalent, at least in my generation during the 1980s and the early 1990s. Not only is this movie about Cleveland, Ohio, but it is filmed up in Lakewood, Ohio. And there's a couple of times where I felt like I recognized a scene or an area or a street that was filmed for this movie. And I thought it was perfect because American Splendor at its core is a period piece. It transverses a couple of decades and they nail the look. They nail the vibe. Everyone's costuming is perfect. The music is superb. And the way it's filmed, awesome. I loved how it was actually captured with real film. I gotta admit, guys, I feel pretty stupid only getting around to watching this movie today, 2025, because as a comic book fan, I feel like this is something I should have experienced long ago. But here I am, late to the party, and glad that I showed up because this movie is awesome. So the first time I ever saw our Crumbs artwork was a little comic book shop we have here in Kent, Ohio called Rodney's Comic Book Shop. It's still going, and sometimes I still find myself in that old comic book shop. It's right next to a pizza joint called Guy's Pizza. So comic books, pizza, they just go hand in hand, but not literally. You don't want to mess up the pages. So I think this movie is really good, but I don't think it's perfect because it is such a specific thing. If you're not into comic books, this might turn you off. If you're not into abrasive lead characters, that's putting it lightly, then that might turn you off. And if you don't like movies that have an old school sentiment where it was a little more edgy to create something like American Splendor, and you want something a little more refined and mainstream, well, this movie ain't it. As a critic, I have to take that into stock. And the movie itself, I feel like, is palatable in many ways, and it fires on all cylinders. I can't lowball it that hard, guys. I'm going to be actually doing this one way up there. I'm thinking that American Splendor, and I want to watch it again. It's really good. I want to show it to some of my friends or loan it to people or whatever. But I'm going to say, right now, it's a strong 8.5, almost a 9 out of 10. I hope I've been informative, guys. Until the next time, tune in to Neon Motherfucking Trash.